Zephaniah 1 and 14. The great day of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, is near. It is near and hasteth greatly. Even the voice of the day of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the mighty men shall cry there bitterly. I'd like to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, blessing, and safety to all the Akim, how they're pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. This is the brother Hadabyar from the GMS Serrano camp coming back at you with another one. And over here in Toronto, different parts of Ontario, even I believe out there and also in New York, they're experiencing the effects of these wildfires, that have been taking place over here in the northern part of Ontario, and I woke up. This is kind of what it's been looking like. These are different different images of how it's been looking over here. All across the city, and I woke up this morning and this is a picture comparing today in New York in 2023. But yeah, I woke up, checked the weather like I do every day because I work outside, and I seen that it was said something about poor air quality, because I didn't know that I guess this was happening throughout the middle of the night. I didn't know. I guess that's when the fire started. But I woke up and seen that there's like a note, that the air quality was poor, and as soon as I stepped out my door, I could smell the smoke. Could smell the smoke in the air. They say that Toronto, over here in the city, have the poorest air quality in the world. And I was like I said, as soon as I walked out the door, you could smell it. The sun, took a picture of this in the morning. You could completely look directly at the sun, because the sky was just covered. You could see the smoke just lingering. Even now, as I'm sitting outside, the sky is smoky. Not as smoky and red like it was earlier in the day, but still smoky nonetheless. And even at work, I was working, and it was just I just was thinking about the scriptures. I was just thinking about when Yahweh Shai would return. I was thinking about when the ICBM missiles are gonna go off in this place. I was also thinking about it was just a real eerie kind of feeling. Like it was just so orange outside. The air was thick, and it gave off a real apocalyptic kind of feeling, and it just made me think of the end, and the times that we're in, and how it's gonna be when when Yahweh Shai returns. Even I was working with other coworkers, and they said the same thing. Like it gives off like like a Walking Dead kind of vibe, like zombie, like a zombie apocalypse. The way it looked outside, you know. And I was just thinking about, these are just, whether it's Esau, um, that started these fires, or it was of natural cause. At the end of the day, it's all through the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. It's all through the will of the Most High. Because like I did a lesson yesterday, the Most High controls both left and right. So at the end of the day, it's still His will, and these are things that are gonna happen in these last days. We're gonna experience these things a lot. We're gonna witness them a lot. So that's why I opened up with this precept, Zephaniah 1 and 14. The great day of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, is near. It is near and hasteth greatly, even the voice of the day of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. The mighty men shall cry there bitterly. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness. And that's what I was thinking about today. Seeing outside, the air was thick. You could feel it. You know, breathing the air in it. It was the air just felt thick. It was also humid. It was dark. And I was just thinking about that on a greater scale. When things start to really boil over. When when there's all out war. When there's civil war. When there's great disasters. That's how it's gonna be looking like outside. Even I was driving around, there's accidents everywhere, traffic everywhere, and even driving down the highway was just gridlock. My mind is thinking about like, if there's an EMP attack, those movies you'll be watching, and everyone's trying to hit the freeway when things get crazy. These are things I was thinking about, meditating about, because it just gave off that feel. You could just that feeling of the end, that feeling of something big about to happen. That's how I felt today. Even a guy made a comment at work saying, how he has, I don't know what we were talking about, but he was saying something about like when the CVID happened. This is a younger Jake. He was young back then and thought about how he hasn't lived his life yet. And he kind of made the same comment today just because of the vibe and the feeling of how outside looked. He said, he still, he still needs time to get rich. And that's another thing. Jake's, they can't discern the times that they're in. With everything happening, Jake, still want to be out here and get rich. They still want the bag. Not realizing that can't bring you salvation. Riches are not going to be able to deliver you on the day of the Lord. On the day of great darkness, or great gloominess. Also, guys started talking about, what they need to survive, like a civil war in the city, like a purge, talking about like, bulletproof vests and weapons and all these things. This is the mind of Jake. This is how Jake thinks. Once again, not discerning the time. Not realizing that the only thing that could save you when all hell breaks loose is the hedge of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. That's it. No type of weapon, gadget, bunker, no type of money is gonna save you on this day. So Zephaniah 1 and 15, that day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of the trumpet, the alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. I will bring distress upon men. They shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as dung. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath, but the whole land shall be devoured by fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all of them that dwell in that land. So, also thinking about, America, just imagine like this, these fires, I'm in the city, these fires are happening, I would say maybe roughly, maybe 2-3 hours, maybe 4 hours north of the city, and you can see the effects of that smoke. How much more than those missiles, How much more when Babylon the Great is completely engulfed in flames? You can just imagine that scene, that fire is gonna be seen from across the world. If such a little part of land right now is on fire, and and it's affecting us here, how much more a whole damn country, damn near half a whole continent. That fire that fire is gonna be great. It's gonna be big, and there's nowhere we want to be other than on the chariots when that takes place, on this great day. That's we want to be in them chariots, Lord willing, because there's no escaping that type of fire, Just to back up what I was saying about that fire being seen, it's Revelation 18 and 10. Standing afar off for fear of her torment, saying, at last, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Yeah, because these other nations, they're gonna see it. They're gonna see America completely in flame, burning. Not to mention the chariots flooding the sky. Not to mention ICBMs going throughout the air. Yahweh Shai returning, making his presence known, revealing himself for the world to see him in all his glory. This is what's coming. These are the things. Us as a hopeful elect, we meditate on. These are the things. Average Jake come outside, see the place all smoky, see the sky red, and not think twice about the Heavenly Father. Not thinking that they should repent. Not thinking that the end is coming. And it's going to be far worse. It's going to be really bad. This is Matthew 16 and 2 in the NIV. He replied when evening comes and say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning, today it will be stormy, for the sky is red and overcast. You know how to interpret the appearance of the sky, but you cannot interpret the signs of the times. A wicked An adulterous generation looks for a sign, but none will be given it except the sign of Jonah. Yahweh Shai then left them and went away. You know, these are signs of the times. These are signs of the end. You know, even if something is as small as it may seem, you know, with these fires, you know, like I said, whether it's Esau doing them or whether it was of natural cause, this is a sign that the end is approaching, that the end is very near. You know, for Toronto to have the poor, you know, the poorest air quality in the world, you know, that's serious. That's serious. And you can imagine when bombs start going off, ICBMs, nuclear radiation, you know, that's gonna really, you know, you know, that's why people are gonna be, like I said, men's heart failing. You know, when these things start to happen, a lot of people are gonna be shook. You know, a lot of people ain't ready for that. You know, but us as prophets of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, us as watchmen, you know, we're on our watch and we're paying attention to all these things. You know, paying attention to all these things and making note of it. So 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and 1, he answered me that and said, measure out the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that this is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of people in the world, then shalt thou will understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For as the time, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning, and the end is manifest. So we've seen the end being manifested right before our own eyes. You know? Right before our own eyes. You know, so yeah, that, you know, that's kind of what inspired me to do this, you know, little quick hit, because of what it was looking like out here. You know, it's crazy. You know, I remember a few years ago. I can't remember. There was, this is probably like 4 years ago. There was fire somewhere. I don't know, in BC, somewhere in that area, and the place was smoky. You could see it, you could smell it, but to this extent where it was just orange out here, you know. Imagine the day of the Lord, you know. Imagine how dark it's gonna be. Dark, you know. This right here ain't dark, you know. This is just, you know, orangey kind of feeling. Like I said, it gives off like a Walking Dead, apocalyptic zombie type feeling. You just expect to see some zombies just running down the road. But when Yahweh Shai returns, you know, as he starts to, you know, as he continues to show more of his signs of the times, you know, people, you know, Jake better wake up, you know, Jake better wake up and get right. And pay attention. You know, don't take the grace period for a joke. Don't take these warnings for you know, don't take them lightly. You know, because, you know, any day now, you know, the grids could fall tomorrow. Blackouts could happen tonight. You know, when things starts to kick off, you wanna say to yourself, you know, you was ready, you know, you was building yourself up with the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You was paying attention. You know, you was calling out his name, you know, serving him. So that's gonna do it for this. I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, and Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, the great millstone who rule well, and peace, blessing, and safety to all the Akim, all that pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. And until the next one, Shalom.